At this place in history, we're at Greenmount Cemetery in Burlington. Steve Perkins isn't available to join us this week, but one of Steve's predecessors as executive director of the Vermont Historical Society has stepped in to join us. Kevin Graffagnino is here. Now, Kevin, someone that you've written about very recently brings us here.
Well, I just published this book about Ira Allen. Ira was a nuanced, complicated man.
Kevin, some of the complications of Ira Allen's life you were just referring to are among the reasons he is buried in Pennsylvania. So why don't we talk about why that is?
He is flailing in the mid-1790s here in Burlington. He owns much of Chittenden County. He owns much of Franklin County, but he can't get any cash flow. His big trade is with the city of Quebec. What's troubling him most is that his goods shipping on water get hung up on the rapids and the shallows of the Richelieu River. Water's too high, your rafts are wrecked. Water's too low, they can't pass. So he goes to London in 1796 and he says to the British, I want to build a canal on the Richelieu River so that we can take ships from Burlington to Quebec to England and back. And Burlington, in effect, will be a seaport.
Yeah.
Now, if this happens, Ira Allen is the richest person in northern New England. The British say, we're not so sure. They keep him waiting for months. And then they finally look at him and say, if we build a canal, we'll do it without you, because we don't need you. England's greatest enemy is France. He crosses the British Channel, he goes to Paris, he tells the revolutionary French government, the French-Canadian majority in Canada are yearning to breathe free. The British boot is on their necks. Let's have a revolution. Oh, and when we're done with that, we'll build a ship canal around the Richelieu, and I'll bring my goods to France instead. They give him 20,000 muskets, 24 cannon. He loads most of them on a ship called the Olive Branch, and the British capture him. And they finally say, he just had some paperwork proving that you paid for the guns. We might believe that you really were just doing it as an entrepreneur to sell them to the state militias. So he goes back to France, not knowing that all the people he dealt with have been deposed or killed. And the new people in charge look at him and say, funny little guy, only speaks English, he must be a British spy. So they throw him in prison, and they leave him there for a year. Finally gets back home in 5 years after he left. He's bankrupt, he is beset by creditors, he has no hope of resolving his financial difficulties. He calls a party at his home over across the river in Winooski, gets his creditors together and says all will be good. He wines them, he dines them. While they're eating in his front parlor, he gets on a boat, winds up in Philadelphia, spends the last decade of his life there, and dies in abject poverty. The dream, commerce, Burlington, a big city, the university educating the sons of farmers and mechanics, it all comes true. It's just, it happens too late for him. And that's true of many frontier visionaries.
Ira Allen, a biography, goes on sale tomorrow at this place in history.